right-footed copy. Oh! Bang! That one goes down. Champions! He takes that chance. Aguero!
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Sports Fans Network. I am the CHALL. Mark Kennedy is out. Ian Holloway is in. That is the story at Swindon Town today. Before we get started with all this in the latest episode of the EFL Report, make sure you do like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell so you never miss another YouTube video. And for now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get straight into this news update, starting with the manager exiting the club at the county ground, Mark Kennedy, the former, or now former, head coach. So we start off with the official club statement on Mark Kennedy's departure. Swindon Town Football Club, according to the club's website, have parted company with the head coach, with Marcus Bignott, Steve Mildenhall and Gavin Gunning continuing their current positions, with all three first-team coaches in place to help see the weekend's game against Gillingham. Everyone at Swindon Town Football Club has thanked and expressed their appreciation to Mark for its commitment and hard work during this time with the club and wished him all the best for the future. And a further update on the club's new head coach will be provided at the earliest opportunity. Well, in terms of recording this episode, that was in the last hour of recording this, because they announced the new head coach or first team manager literally an hour ago as of recording this video. And until the end of the season, Ian Holloway has been appointed as the first team manager. With over 600 appearances as a player and taking charge of almost 1,000 professional games over a 20-plus year managerial career, according to the club website, Ian Holloway will bring an invaluable experience with him to SM1. During his time as a manager, he has secured promotions on 3 occasions, including promotion to the Premier League with Crystal Palace and Blackpool, as well as promotion with QPR in the Football League Second Division in 2003-2004. The football midfielder has also achieved promotion twice as a player, achieving promotion in the Football League Second Division with Wimbledon in 1985-1986, before winning the Football League Third Division with Bristol Rovers in 2003-2004, making his record a total of 5 promotions achieved as both a player and manager during his time working in professional football. Following his arrival at the club, Ian Holloway said to Swindon Town's website, "I'm delighted to be back working in football after a period out of the game, as I wanted to get back into it if the right opportunity arose, which, with this opportunity, I feel is the perfect fit for me." Conversations happened very quickly and both sides were very keen to get the deal done. And of course, I was delighted to engage with a club like Swindon Town, a club of whom I know a lot about due to my location and knowledge of the local area. I want to be able to bring everyone together to deliver success and positively on and off the pitch, and I'm delighted to be at the Nigel Eady County Ground tomorrow to meet you all for the first time as Swindon Town manager, and I look forward to a successful time working together. The club's head of football, Jamie Russell, has also put out his statement at the club's website, saying this: "We're delighted that Ian Holloway has agreed to join us at Swindon Town Football Club. We are confident that Ian's experience and leadership qualities, which he has shown for many years across not just at Premier League level, but the top 5 divisions of professional football, will be a significant asset for Swindon Town Football Club. His passionate approach, coupled with his location being more local to the southwest area, along with most importantly a desire to build a hard-working and entertaining side, is a large part of what made us believe he would be the ideal fit for us. Additionally, Ian's ability to help grow, develop and nurture not only our first team players but also the dedicated coaching staff we have at Swindon Town was important to us. Alongside our current coaching setup with Marcus Bignott, Steve Mildenhall and Gavin Gunning, this is a great opportunity for us to mix proven Premier League quality in Ian with our dedicated and committed first team staff who have achieved success in their own right and are particularly keen to improve and deliver positive performances and results of Swindon Town going forward. We hope that this is an exciting blend of coaching experience that will get the very best out of our talented squad as we look to our next game against Gillingham tomorrow afternoon." So before we talk about the appointment of Ian Holloway, we have to talk about the resignation or departure of Mark Kennedy. Now, Pete O'Rourke of Football Insider was very quick in the morning to notify that Swindon Town were set to reportedly sack Mark Kennedy, and then the news came out that Swindon Town had parted company with the head coach. Now, in terms of the last run of games, 2 defeats in the last 5 games in all competitions. Obviously a draw, 2 wins in that mix as well. You look at where Swindon Town are in the table as well. They're in 22nd place. They're just above the bottom 2 in Carlisle and Morecambe respectively. there's been questions. From the Swindon fans that I've spoken to following this news, it seemed like it was expected at some point. Rumours have been flying for the last 48 hours that he was set to go. There's been rumours amongst the fans for a good 24 to 48 hours, I would say, that the news was going to come at some point. And the rumours started flying about. People were saying in different group chats that I was in, get the corner flags ready, this, that, the other. And it was getting to a point where it was probably expected. Now, on the current run, 2 defeats on the bounce, 2 wins in the last 5, 2 wins in the last 5, 2 defeats in the last 5, 2 consecutive defeats after 2 consecutive wins. Did I expect this on the current run of form? Not really. I think if it went for a couple more defeats, then maybe it would have expected. But never expect the expected with Swindon Town. Expect the unexpected with that football club and the way it's operating, because there's a lot of questions. I think it's very clear in the mainstream that there are a lot of questions towards the ownership from the fan base. There's a lot of questions from the supporters towards the ownership. Obviously, they would like a clear idea of what's going to go on short-term and long-term with the football club in terms of its current position, where it would like to be. There's been several club letters that have come out in recent months. And obviously from the main kind of owner, Clem Morfuni, or Morfoni, how that's pronounced. And for me, I think it's going to be very, very interesting. I think that the whole situation around the football club is going to be very interesting. Where do they finish this year? Do they finish in the bottom 2? Do they finish outside the bottom 2? Because on their day, to be fair, when we played them a couple of weeks ago, obviously for those of you who don't know, I'm a Doncaster Rovers supporter, when we played them a couple of weeks ago, they were a pretty strong side. And I'm not going to dwell away from that fact. They were a pretty strong side. And for me personally, I think that they were a pretty good side. Yes, they lacked in final third quality at times, but they got some pretty good players. They got a good youngster in McGregor. I think he's really good down the flanks. I think Kennedy was playing a good style of football in that particular game. Well, not great style of football, but I think in terms of style of play, I think it did the job to try and get a result. But of course, silly on ball in the last minute and we get a penalty, which Ironside scores. It's one of them results for Swindon. And obviously they lost 2-1 to Salford recently as well. That was the last game Kennedy was in charge. And the ironic thing is, and people have spoken about this as well, that he wasn't worried about speculation after that defeat. And now it turns out he's lost his job. So obviously Mark Kennedy will have his time to speak about what he needs to speak about. Does he come out against the club? Does he speak about his time at the club? What does he speak about? We've seen interviews. I mean, we'll use Richard Wellens as an example, ex-Doncaster Rovers manager, now Leyton Orient boss. He came out on Lower League Look and spoke about some of his time at Doncaster, speaking with the chairman about the team, etc. So, several things will come out in several interviews when the time's right and when he feels the time is right to speak out about it. But at the end of the day, we wish nothing but the best for Mark Kennedy. At the end of the day, a head coach has lost his job, and that's the long and short of it. But overall, Mark Kennedy is a good coach. He will come back again. And Swindon just didn't feel like the right club. I think it was just not the right time for him. Now then, let's talk about his successor for the rest of this season. Ian Holloway has been appointed as first team manager until the end of the campaign. This is probably just a short-term attempt just to keep Swindon in the Football League, keep them steady, get a few wins here and there, and just do enough to stay above the relegation zone. I think that's probably that might not be the expectation that the owners want for the club, or the fans want for the club, definitely. But I think it's probably the expectation for the rest of this season. Now just stay in the Football League. Do not go below that red line. And Ian Holloway wouldn't want that, I know a lot of Grimsby fans have apologised to Swindon fans in advance, saying Jesus wept, good luck. Let's list off the positives first of all of Ian Holloway, because we have to see both sides to this. We can't be biased. We have to be neutral. We have to see both sides to it. So first of all, the positives. He is a passionate man. He's a character on the touchline. We know that. We've seen his interviews. If you haven't seen it, I think it's still on the Sky Sports Retro YouTube channel. Go and check out the interview he did, the little rant that he did about the Bosman rule involving Wayne Rooney when he was Blackpool manager in the Prem. Brilliant interview, and it was a sign of where modern football was going at that point. So, and Ian Holloway's been spot on about that. I think he came out about the big project that they were planning as well in the Premier League before the Super League plans came about, and You know, he spoke out about that on Sky Sports. He's spoken out about a number of things on Sky Sports, including stuff with the EFL with Rick Parry as well. So, you know, he's a character. He isn't afraid to speak his mind. If he thinks the performance weren't good enough, he'll come out and say it. He's got his catchphrases. You'll know he's got his catchphrases. I think we knew that already from his time at Blackpool. But yeah, he's a character. And yes, he does play some good football here and there. It's not the best football in the world, but is it effective football at times? Yes, it is. Because he's got results. He's played several players. He'll have a January transfer window to try and bring in the players necessary to keep Swindon in the Football League. There'll be a couple of short-term deals, I reckon, till the end of the season that all coincide with him leaving at the end of the season. Does he stay after this season? We'll see what happens. Depends on his performance. I think that obviously his time at Grimsby in terms of results wasn't great overall. There was some good results here and there, but overall it wasn't the best spell. I think his best spell in management for me came at Blackpool, came at Crystal Palace when they got promoted to the Prem. Obviously as a player he's won promotion at this level, so he at different levels, so he knows what it takes to go up in certain levels. He knows what it takes to survive. What the pain of relegation feels like. Obviously, he felt that pain with Blackpool, that last game, 4-2 away at the champions of that season, Manchester United under Sir Alex Ferguson, you know, 2 years before his retirement. He knows what this means. He knows what it takes to survive. He knows the pain of relegation. He doesn't want Swindon to suffer that. Could Swindon Town suffer that fate if Carlisle get back to winning ways at some point throughout the season? I think they could. But for me, I feel like Ian Holloway is the man with the loudest voice. I think that he's got the loud voice. He's got the ability, shall we say, to drive that dressing room. I think he's got the ability to put some bulldog spirit into that dressing room. Players that weren't playing will certainly have to play, or they'll be out of the club, or be out of the door, or be out on the bench, because Ian Holloway won't take that. I don't think he'll take that personally. This is where the snowflakes in football might get upset because, you know, people are like, oh, you need man managers nowadays. I'm sorry, if people aren't playing for the badge, if people aren't playing for the shirt, you need a bulldog manager that's going to say, I don't care. Get on that pitch, play for the shirt, or you're out and onto the bench. And if you're complaining about lack of game time when you're the one who's not playing for the shirt, you're out the door. I don't care. And if the owner's not helping with that process of forcing players that don't want to play for the shirt out of the door, then that becomes an ownership problem. That becomes a recruitment problem. That becomes a transfer problem. So, and that becomes above Ian Holloway and what he's capable of doing. So, for me, he's the right type of spirit, the right type of manager to get those players firing again on cylinders, or try and at least get them firing. And he's not afraid to come out and say it like he means it. So, for me, I think he's a good appointment in terms of getting some spirit back into that dressing room and getting them back up the table. I think that Ian Holloway is the right man to get them firing above the red line. I think he'll just keep them in the Football League potentially, not definite, but potentially. However, there is obviously that risk that he could replicate the Grimsby result and Swindon could end up being relegated from the Football League by the end of the season. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen, for this episode of the EFL Report. We'll be back with a part 2 on this. We'll be speaking to the Swindon Town fans. Ben from Falls Rush Inn will be coming on to SFN to speak about this news. We're also going to reach out to other journalists and fans within the Swindon Town community and network so we can speak more about this in the future. But thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I am the CHALL. Ta-ra for now, and that is full time on SFN.
Right foot to Coffey.